For our genes, we
Okay, we're live now. We're live. Alright, welcome to the stream. Let us start in 3, 2, 1.
have metabolic jump, which gives us more DNA when popping red bubbles, ion surge, which makes things cost less to devolve and makes the plague easier to cure, together strong, which increases DNA from colonies, and then aquasite and extremophile. But onto our strategy, you'll see that we're setting up an ape colony. Basically, this is where intelligent apes come together to build a colony, which increases ape transmission while protecting and generating DNA. This is what we got that one gene for, together strong, and we're also going to upgrade this as much as possible just to make sure we're always getting more DNA. Eventually, once we finish a bit more setup, we'll have 5 of these colonies all generating DNA, and yeah, it'll be really nice once you see it. Really quick before that though, we want to get intergenous dissemination, which increases the chance of the virus spreading between apes, blood gift, which increases ape-to-ape transmission if their blood is mixed, and sebaceous excretion, which makes prolonged physical contact trigger ape-to-ape transmission. We're getting these right now because we need enough intelligent apes to occupy a country before we can create an ape intelligent apes, and these transmission types are the main way we can create an ape intelligent and watch out for during this section before we can create an ape intelligent. Basically, any mutation that causes our lethality to rise, we need to immediately devolve, otherwise humans will figure us out too soon. And secondly, we also don't want neural enhancement because it increases intelligence in humans. Yeah, there's actually a symptom in this plague that only hurts us, doesn't help us at all. But we're on to placing ape colonies, which start out pretty cheap, but each time we set one down, the next one will be exponentially more expensive. These are 100% worth it though, since they give us a ton of DNA, and they'll be generating DNA for us for the entire game. I'm not exactly sure how the DNA works for these, but I'm pretty sure it's either how long they've been set down, or how many apes are in that colony decides how much DNA we get. Since you'll see the 2 ones we just got, they're only giving us 6, while the one we've had down for a while is giving us 13. But we're relatively under the radar right now. I don't know how scientists don't think of us as more of a problem, especially because we did take down one of their labs. But you know, they're doubting the apes. They're gonna come to regret that very much. Is that something similar that happened in the movie? I've actually never watched it. I mean, it has a fun plague, but is it a good movie? Tell me in the comments. Next up, it's time for some more abilities, starting with primal awareness, which allows apes to understand human behaviors more, war paint, which lets apes use natural dyes to paint themselves, and covert expertise, which lets apes monitor human incursions into their territory and camouflage their homes. All of these are so they're less likely to get noticed by humans. We still somehow don't have anyone who's noticed all these intelligent apes, and we want to keep it that way for as long as possible. Now at this point, we have a ton of DNA constantly coming in, so it's time to expand. You'll notice I haven't gotten any air or sea transmission, and that's because we don't need it. Here we'll get organized travel, which allows us to move a group of apes to a new country, logistics, which allows them to go faster and over large distances, and seafaring, which lets them build rafts to go over large bodies of water. We'll also get Ape Rampage, which can target labs and rescue captive apes. This will be used when Genesis, the company behind the lab that we broke out of at the beginning of the game, starts making more labs, so we'll need this to stop them from developing a cure. Now for moving our apes, it does cost 5 DNA to do so it's a little expensive, especially if you're doing it a lot. But the main reason we need it for is of course to go over to South America, and that will get it everywhere in both North and South America, and then we'll use it on islands. You'll also notice that I'm not using it on a place with an ape colony, and that's because it would move the ape colony, making us not get some points during that duration that they're moving. But we might need to move some of our ape colonies later, because sometimes countries send down drones to attack your apes, and if we keep a colony there, it'll get destroyed, but you'll see what I'm talking about later. Now you probably saw Genesis put down another lab. Thankfully, we already had a bunch of apes there, so right away we can use our abilities to start attacking that. I'm also, of course, going to get our regular upgrades, get our cold resistance, get our drug resistance. You already know we need that if we're trying to spread everywhere. We can see that also there is now another lab, and we will actually have to send some apes over there to make sure we can deal with those guys. And yeah, from here on out, the cure has started, so Genesis is going to make a bunch of these labs, but as soon as we see them, we do want to destroy them. Now that is kind of hard, especially because the labs, they're not the biggest things in the world, they're easy to miss. So I'm just constantly scanning the map and making sure if we do see a lab, we get it. One thing that can happen though is a lab sometimes spawns on the same country where you have an ape colony, and the ape colony symbol will go over the lab symbol. So we're really hoping that doesn't happen, otherwise we would have no idea where that lab is. Now the public doesn't like us destroying these labs, especially because they definitely know about us now, but it is more worth it for us to destroy them and not allow their experiments to keep going, rather than not terrify the people. I mean, we're gonna be killing them anyways. Who cares if they're scared for now? You're also probably starting to notice that more than any other plague, the cost for upgrades are absolutely insane. They're getting close to the hundreds at this point, and most of the time you actually will have to buy things for hundreds of DNA points. That is why it's so important to have our different ape colonies, so we're constantly getting money, because it really does scale fast. But finally, we just need to focus on drug resistance 2 and genetic hardening 2, and then we can finally start doing some transmission and some symptoms, so we are getting there. You know, I gotta go back and play this game casually again after this. Like, the casual difficulty versus the mega brutal difficulty, it's just night and day. You don't need this many drug resistances or any of that. It's just a completely different game. And one thing I didn't even notice for a second, someone finally did send out drones to try to attack our apes. You'll see it as soon as we go back to the map. It's basically the red plane circling around in the blue circle. That's where they're sending people to try to kill our apes and control them. Unfortunately for them, they picked the wrong spot. They didn't even go near one of our ape colonies. Kind of not the best strategy in the world, but I guess to be fair, I have this entire map. They can only kind of see what's happening. Still, there are probably better ways to deal with this, and that definitely will be their downfall. Now at this point, we're really focusing on getting our transmission up, and still, you know, the general things. The game really wants me to have neural enhancement, but I don't want to make humans smarter. I'm not sure why it's trying this so hard. And I also didn't have enough DNA for a second. That could have been bad, but unfortunately for the humans, they're not keeping their smarts for too long. Anyways, we're getting plenty of different forms of transmission right now. Just kind of building up our infectability, because our next perk that we're going to get might be the most powerful thing in this plague. It's called Hominidity Bridge. I don't know if I said that right, but basically it allows the ape and human forms of the virus to efficiently jump between species, which is kind of insane and very good for the apes. And that's why you'll also see we get a ton of red bubbles, a ton of new countries are infected, and here's where things are really going to get interesting. We're getting so many red bubbles at this point that I literally have to pause the screen because we would not have enough time to click these. Even if I was on the phone, I'm not sure if I could with both of my thumbs. That's how good this is. And it's especially nice when you save it for this late, because we get so much DNA, even though we use almost all of it on our 6th and final ape colony. We do want to get some extra points, especially because things are really starting to get expensive, before we get some air and some water transmission, because even though we can send our apes overseas, we still would rather them go naturally, and we have the time. It's not like we're rushing too much. The only thing I have to 100% make sure is anytime there's a lab, we crush it immediately. At this point, because of how fast the cure is coming, if we miss a single lab for more than like 5 seconds, that could be the end of the run, so that's really what I'm focused on. Now we're at the point where we might as well go all the way up to extreme bioaerosol, because although I don't expect places like Greenland to be hit naturally, it would be nice. But this definitely is a calm before the storm type moment, since in just a little bit, we'll want to finally start the lethality up, but we gotta be patient, and this is definitely a slow moving plague. Also, I shouldn't be complaining, but who's ever controlling these drones is the worst at their job. They have not gotten even close to my ape colonies. Do they even know where we started this thing? Anyways, at this point, what I'm gonna do is look on my map, and you can actually see which countries are still healthy. So then we can send those with our ability and make sure that every country gets hit before going on from there. So I'm just gonna aim at each of these countries, send some apes over. They might take a little bit to get there. Some of these guys are also hard to hit just because they're so small on the map. I guess we could zoom in. Oh, but yeah, that's not fun. So basically right there, Australia doesn't have enough apes, so we can't send anyone over. So we're gonna have to send them from Africa instead. And that's especially bad because you'll see right there, our research center is starting in New Zealand, and it's going to take a while for our apes to get there. We're also getting some lethality. I don't even know when we got this much. I guess at this point, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just going to start buying some stuff, hoping that it works out, especially because this lab is literally in the worst spot, and I don't have anyone I can send over. I'm a little bit worried about that. We can be happy though, because some countries like Germany are starting to break down, and it looks like Genesis for some reason decided to leave New Zealand where they were safe. They definitely could have developed a cure, but instead of staying there, they moved their lab to a place that's going to get destroyed immediately. It wasn't even a contest. It's like they want us to win. You know, if these are our best scientists, I don't think they're ever going to survive. But we'll send some more people over. I just need to get this started. Greenland also does not look the best. They have just started a lab themselves. Thankfully, there are still enough apes there, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem to take out. Maybe just take a little longer. It is a little concerning, though, because we definitely have to start killing people so we can stop this research. The research getting a little insane. So we will do a genetic reshuffle, which costs an arm and a leg. That was so expensive. That was ridiculous. And it's not letting me hit that, but that's because they're moving. I don't even know what the point of moving is. I have this entire globe shut down, dude. You just got to accept your fate at this point. But we will send some more apes over to Greenland. Hopefully that will help them a bit. And at this point, I think it probably is time to start getting some lethality. So yeah, I think I'll just pick one of these options. We'll hope that'll be good enough. And we really got to start dealing with these humans. Actually, never mind. The cure's pretty much dead. Well, let's infect some people. I kind of am worried about two places, though. It's New Zealand and it's Greenland. Greenland does look a little bit better than New Zealand, but we only have 60 people infected and more dead. So we might be a little bit too lethal. I'll kind of play it out for just a little bit. Maybe we'll get some more transmission, see if that can help them at all. But yeah, this is not the best in the world. So I think it's time to do it. I gotta devolve some of my lethal symptoms. The nice thing is I don't think the cure is going to come back, so we should be fine on that. I'm just hoping we'll get enough DNA to still be fine. I mean, at this point, it does look like New Zealand is getting a lot more victims, so that is good. But yeah, it's just a worrisome thing. It's so easy to mess this up, and if I mess this up right at the ending of this, I really don't want to lose the speedrun. Also, that's great, because we just saw a message that said that Greenland executed all of its infected people. Not a great thing for us, so I think we will have to send some people over. There are literally 0 people infected there right now. That is not great. And they're still sending bombs. I don't know who they're trying to hit at this point, but I guess we'll just try to send some more apes. I don't know if we do have more apes there. I'm pretty sure we do, but this is very annoying. So we will send them from 2 different countries because I think at this point, New Zealand should be fine. It really is just about Greenland. Why even on the ones where I can send people to Greenland? Why is Greenland always the place that is the most struggle for me? Don't worry though. We are going to get our revenge on this next plague if we can make it there. We have to make it there first. So I'm going to go into the transmissions again. We'll get a couple of these. We do have the extra DNA. We don't have to worry at all about them developing a cure. The only thing we really have to worry about is these plagues who keep trying to kill all of our apes. This is super annoying. I mean, to be fair, this is the last land of living people, so I can't really blame them too much. Well, like, come on, man. Just accept your fate. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world. So I am going to go to every country I can, or I guess not every, but a bunch of countries, and we are going to send apes from literally everywhere. This is going to be our final stand against Greenland. I'm not sure if the apes can die like the zombies if they don't have enough to eat. I would assume not, because it's not like they're eating the people. They're just trying to take them out. But this is actually terrifying. Imagine looking at this being in Greenland and a bunch of apes on rafts just come towards your country. You're like, please, we're the last bits of humanity. We have to hold out. But this is the last thing you see before you die. And why is the plane trying to attack South America? That doesn't make sense. But we won. Thank you. Finally, time for the very last plague. And this one's going to be the Shadow Plague, where we control a vampire who's trying to turn everybody into his minions. For our genetic code, we have Harvester, which makes vampires collect more DNA when consuming people with blood rage, Budget Bat, which makes our flight ability not cost DNA, Mad Scientist, which makes all bubbles automatically pop, and then Herbophile and Aquasite. Then for our beginning strategy, we're starting straight out in Greenland and killing everybody in the country. I told you guys we'd be getting our revenge on these guys, and it's a pretty sweet one since it allows us to gain DNA while we take people out, and basically we're waiting for the Templars to start fighting back. Now at the beginning of this run, I really only have a couple vampire abilities I care about. There are upgrades for our Blood Rage ability, which makes our vampire more powerful, Dark Ritual, which makes it so that if we're not getting attacked during a Blood Rage, we heal ourselves by feeding on people, and Therianthrope, which gives us the ability to turn into a bat and fly to other countries. And there we go. In just about 30 seconds flat, we did take out Greenland, which is awesome. We no longer have to deal with your ports. That's what you get, guys. After that, we're going to go for Iceland. We don't really expect to take them out fully. Instead, we're just kind of biding our time until the Templars start setting up bases. By the way, don't worry, not all countries are going to be as easy to take out as Greenland was. The biggest reason is they just don't have the biggest population, so it didn't take us that long. But finally, after waiting for just a bit longer, you'll see that the Templars are finally starting to set up bases, and we got some pretty good positions. Preferably, we'd want them all to be in the east or all to be in the west, but that's really unlikely. So even though they're kind of scattered, I definitely will take this formation, and it's time to go for them. We want to take them out as soon as possible, because the longer we wait, the stronger they're going to get, and also if we try to set up a vampire lair while they're here, they're just going to destroy it. But the Templar bases are set up in a way where the first one you destroy is really easy, but then they start moving some of their units to different bases and make those ones stronger. So that one takes us literally like a second. We're going to heal up in this other country, and we go for the second one. We'll also get Demonic Fury, which is going to make our vampires strong as possible, and they are already dead. But again, they're sending airplanes over to different places, so yeah, that's just kind of the game we have to play. And honestly, this collection of these 4 bases is really nice. They're really close to each other. And we'll go for the one in Botswana first. We'll take care of the south and then the north. One thing to pay attention to during this, by the way, is every time we use Blood Fury, it does cost us some DNA. Obviously, we get DNA back when we use it, but I have had times before where I get an upgrade, try to go use Blood Fury on something else, and lose all of my DNA, which just makes us lose. It's really funny, but this has actually happened to me multiple times when I'm practicing, and yeah, it is not a cool thing. So I'm making sure that doesn't happen. I'm always going to make sure I have more than enough DNA before I do any upgrades, at least during this part. And here we go, we'll do some Madagascar. Only have 2 Templar bases left after that one, but they are getting a lot stronger. They're taking a lot more of our HP now. So here's where we're going to use the cheesiest strategy in the world. You almost feel a little bit bad about using this, but then you remember, hey, I'm trying to take over the world. I can't feel bad. Basically, we're going to get them low and our own HP low, but before we die, we're actually going to move our vampire over. You can see that vampire is close to death after that, so I'm going to move him before he dies. We can heal up in this other country and then go back to the original country where there is going to be this base, use it one more time, and they are not able to heal up at the same rate that we can, so we completely take them out. I'm also going to get some more bat speed. We might as well get it, especially because after we're done with this Templar base, we're going to be setting up a ton of layers, and that will be really important for the next phase of this plague. But we're using the exact same strategy this time. Once we make it to the final Templar base, it is extremely hard to do, and I'm also playing it fairly safe because we're not going to get another message that says we're close to death. So instead of going too low on my health, we'll just be at an okay level, and it might take us a little bit longer, but I need to play this safe. So at this point, we just have a little bit more we have to do. We'll send our person back, get him a tiny more health, and you can see they are very weak. I maybe could have finished them off with that last one, but as I was saying, gotta play it safe. Now all the Templar forces are gone, and we can start investing in layers as well as get some more travel speed. I think that will come important. And now it's time to put down all of our layers. The first one is going to be over here in Africa, and we're going to put it as west as possible in Africa because that's going to be a good first spot before we go over to the Americas, and more specifically go over to Central America. Now it's important to put all of our layers in really strategic positions. First of all, they give us more DNA, which is always nice, but the second thing they're good for is shadow portals. Once we get the shadow portal upgrade, we can then teleport from one place to the other as long as there's a layer there. So it's actually super OP, and that's why we want to have 5 layers down, all in really good spots. Again, we wanted to wait to put them down until now, because if we did it earlier, the Templars would have taken them out, pretty much just losing us a bunch of DNA, because the layers are really similar to the ape colonies, and every time you place a new one, it's going to get exponentially more expensive. But for our third layer, we are going to place it in Central Europe. That'll help us get pretty much everywhere in Europe, so it's a nice spot. And then we'll head over to China to place our 4th layer, just allowing us to travel a little bit more eastwards. You'll see I am taking little breaks here and there just to make sure we can get some more DNA. But yeah, just the general plan, place some more layers, and finally we're going to be heading over to Australia, where our last one's going to be. That'll allow us to go both to Australia and be really close to all the different places by it. And the reason we want all these strategic teleporting places is not just so we can spread the plague really easily, but also so that anytime there's a base starting organ failure, as well as getting genetic shuffle. And basically that just buys us more time, gets rid of some of the progress on the cure. And one thing to mention is after you kill enough people in a specific country, those scientists will no longer be looking for a cure. So that's really what we're hoping for. We can see that South Africa just went into anarchy. They're no longer going to be helping with the cure, and it's progressing pretty well. We should be completely fine. The US president just taken ill. So yeah, we should be more than fine. We have enough time and they are not going to be able to finish this cure. Might as well get another high lethality symptom. And it looks like the planet, yeah, no one's even trying to look for a cure at this point. Everything is red. Today we're speedrunning Plague Inc. and we're going to be beating every plague on the hardest difficulty, Mega Brutal. So to start out, we're going with bacteria, and right away a trick you'll see me doing is as soon as we see a pop-up, I'm going to press 3 to make the speed faster, and then we can go into this menu while the game is still playing. And along with it playing, it's also still going to pop up orange and red bubbles, and that means we can pop them while we're in this menu because we have the genetic code on Metabolic Hijack. Then for our other genetic codes, we have Creationist, which decreases the chance of your plague mutating, and that's good since we can prevent making our plague lethal too soon. Aquasite, which increases the chance of your plague spreading by sea, which is really important for places like Greenland. Extremophile, which gives your plague a minor bonus in all environments. And Symptostasis, which makes it so that symptom costs don't increase, but the plague is easier to cure. Now for our upgrades, you'll see that at the beginning we're completely focusing on infectivity, so we're going for a bunch of symptoms that do that right at the start, and then we're going to focus on a couple transmission sources, starting with Bird 1 because that's really going to help us get past land borders and go into new places. But after that, we want to completely focus on air and water. This is because islands like Greenland and the Caribbean are extremely hard to get to, and a lot of the times those are going to be the places that ruin your run. So we want to make sure we have as good of a chance to infect them as soon as possible. Now we want to get some abilities like cold resistance 1 and 2, which are really good for places that are cold like Russia, Greenland, all kinds of different places. And then we're also going to get drug resistance 1 and 2, which is really nice for the wealthier places like the US and Canada, before buying another transmission perk, which is extreme bioaerosol, or I think that's how you say it, but basically it just makes our air travel and water travel as good as possible. But right there, I saw that a boat finally infected Greenland, which means we can focus on lethality. The reason we wanted to wait is if we kill too many people too fast, then places like Greenland are going to close down their ports, and once their ports are closed, if no one's infected in the country, they are completely safe and there's no way for us to get them. Yeah, if you've ever played this game, you know how painful places like Greenland are, but it's really nice when you can actually start killing because we're going to get DNA a lot faster, and this is where the game starts getting really fun as soon as there are no longer any healthy people left in the world and you just watch the rest die. And as soon as bacteria finishes up, we're going into our next plague, virus. Virus is a lot harder to control since it mutates a lot, meaning it gets new symptoms even when we don't buy them. This can be good when you want it, but it can also give us lethal symptoms, so that's what we have to watch out for and how we're going to change up our strategy. And our first change is going to be the genetic code, where we're going to keep Metabolic Hijack, Aquasite, Extremophile, and Symptostasis, but we'll replace Creationist with Base Oxidization, which makes your plague able to mutate transmissions. You'll actually see it right there as we got Livestock 1, and now we're going to focus on transmissions. If we get symptoms that increase infectivity right now, then we'll be more likely to mutate symptoms that give us lethality. So instead, we're going to completely ignore symptoms at the beginning of this run, which does make us go a little bit slower, but it's a lot safer, especially for a run like this. If you watch speedruns for only virus, they go for symptoms right away and are a lot riskier, but that's because they can afford the reset. For my speedrun, I'm trying to beat every single plague without losing a single time, so we got to use slightly different strategies to make sure we can actually survive.
This is magic! It's magic indeed!
I promise this is the last time this will ever happen. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
'Twas a normal day on planet Earth when a young boy made a review of a fucking mod called ANOTHER, and it spawned many a sequel. Fast forward time and more time, and that boy is back in action to review the official remake of ANOTHER version 1.
I almost choked during that whole thing. What's good, everybody? My name is Nisa here. Welcome back to Incredibox. So today I am here with ANOTHER version 1. Yeah, by the main man Cricket, the original guy who made it. ANOTHER was a series on Incredibox that always had like a very fun aspect to it, but the thing about ANOTHER that kind of became a bit, you know, horrifying is that the mods went from just these happy-go-lucky things to just dark and depressing, almost to like an alarming degree. But now we're here with a remake of the first ever version, and damn it, I am excited for it. We have some lore as well we got to get into. What's the at? This is just the bitches who made the damn thing. We got some shout outs as well. Man, look at this fucking thing. All right, bro, let's just not waste any time. Let's just get straight into this, dude. Let's go. Let's game. So how good is this gonna be? I kind of like how the background has like this like vignette to it. So like if you were to zoom out this entire thing, it just looks like a nice little square. Does that make any sense at all? Like, it has depth to it, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, hello! I'm gonna ask for a snare, and that's close enough, you know. Come on, lads. I think we're gonna do a whole row and then do the lore. Hey. Are these the same characters as well? I don't recognize the first two dudes, but I know the TikTok bitch. Hey. Come on, I need a bass. Actually, wait. Take away that guy. Hang on. Do this guy. I want to hope that he's a bass. I want to actually work with something. He's a builder. Okay, it's all right so far. It's all right so far.
I am under the impression that it will get better eventually.
These things just take time, you know. You can't just have a bunch of fucking beats and then call it a day. Come on, baby. Damn. No, wait, we need that first guy. That first guy's a necessity, bro. It's cinematic, you know. What the hell? There's like a new little toggle. Which one I like more? This is a weird mod, dude. This is a bizarre little thing. All right, what do you got? I feel kind of bad. I haven't really made it to like the bumping head status. You know what I mean? We're blowing through this shit, to be honest. I probably need to slow down a little bit. I don't know. I'm not really vibing with this just yet. There we go. Where the hell have you been? Well, fuck me, man. Now we can actually make some crazy shit. Come on, lads. There we go. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Hey, that's a demon. Wait a minute. Hang on. This isn't bad. This is not bad, and we also don't have any voices or melodies yet at all. There is hope for a new day. I like that little sound. Testy. The first character is named after a testicle. Wonder what their badge means. We'll probably get more info later. Often clips through the floors and walls. Seems to be in a group. Voice and TTS. Text to speech. So he's just a fucking anomaly. Named testicle. I thought that said created by sex. I was like, well, technically, yeah.
From the little talk I had with him.
That's a him?
From the little talk I had with him, he's very reserved on why he's here.
Some type of demon. I think an incubus. He tends to stare at me whenever I'm in my office. Afraid of fire. I want to investigate more on that. Why do you need to investigate the fact that he's afraid of fire? I'm afraid of guns. It makes sense. This guy doesn't have a damn name. I've seen people with clocks on their faces before. I don't think this one is doing too well. Doesn't say a word. He's still alive. The clock works, but it also doesn't track the real time. So what's it for? Then it doesn't work, homie. Jerry. I wonder what he was built for in the first place. Seems to be deactivated for now, as we found him in an alleyway with a bit of rust. We don't know who built it, but it's obvious that it was thrown out.
We found one. A real one.
Man, Eli, the name Clippy Flippy sounds familiar. Not sure where I've heard it. What the fuck is a Clippy Flippy? Seems to have a few clones of himself. Both hair and scarf seem somewhat sentient. I love how that's the most interesting thing. The fact that the dude comes with sentient clothing and you're just like, Clippy Flippy sounds familiar. Destroyer, a little guy, seems to appear from a green-blue portal when he dies. Has talked about his friends. We know Boxen, haven't seen Frank yet, and on the search for whoever VD is. Sometimes just explodes without warning, says it's due to some glitch. Seems strong but not very smart. He is very kind though. I love how, okay, first of all, let me actually give you a genuine, real, like huge thank you, and that is the fact that this mod does not have lore that drags on, because I feel like with these characters and how just kind of like what the hell am I looking at they all are, if you gave these bitches